Ahead of a new season, I'm going to be walking 37 miles in 3 days, visiting every Premier League club in London to find out what Arsenal are up against this season from our closest rivals, and more importantly, to raise money for Prostate Cancer UK. Sponsor me and save lives. Keep on my channels for more and watch this space.
Welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that have been linked with a summer transfer move to Arsenal. Hi and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that have been linked with a summer transfer move to Arsenal. Arsenal in action tomorrow, of course, in their last friendly before the Premier League starts next week Saturday against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Going to be really interested to see that friendly. I wasn't there at the Bayer Leverkusen game because I was over at the Olympics. I can't wait to be back at the Emirates. And I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing Riccardo Calafiori make his debut for Arsenal. He's the one I'm really interested in seeing. Hasn't actually played yet in any of the friendlies. So would love to see him at some stage in action. But also we've been looking sharp so far in the friendly games. But still, we want to see signings, right? Because next week, Saturday, that's it. We're underway. And you know what? It's going to be really interesting because, of course, we're taking on Wolverhampton Wanderers and they're going to be without, for me, their best player, Neto. Pedro Neto, shock move yesterday to Chelsea. That really came out of the blue. There was a lot of people linking him. The team that had the hottest links to him all summer, to be fair, was Tottenham Hotspur. They're the ones that were said to really want him. They seemed to be the destination where he was going to go. Fabrizio Romano sort of saying yesterday that Arsenal have never been in for him all summer. But he's gone to Chelsea, £54 million. Would love to get your views on what you think of that. Personally, I think that's a great signing for Chelsea. I don't necessarily see where they need him. It's a typical Chelsea signing. They don't need a player. They go and get him. But I do like Neto. And I would have liked to have seen Arsenal, make a move for Pedro Neto. They haven't been interested in him all summer, according to Fabrizio Romano. So listen, he's gone to Chelsea now, and I'm glad that he won't be playing for Wolves next week. That's for sure. But does that mean now that Wolves will make a move for a couple of Arsenal players? One of them being Reiss Nelson. Reiss Nelson, we know, is a player that could be looking to be moving on this summer. Lots of links today with Reiss Nelson to Wolves. They're going to need somebody now to replace Pedro Neto. He's available for around about £25 million. We know that Arsenal will be willing to sell him this summer. Will Wolves move for Reiss Nelson? That's going to be an interesting one. And another player that they've been linked with a lot this summer has been Aaron Ramsdale. Now, again, we don't know the situation with Aaron Ramsdale. Is he staying? Is he going? Looks more likely that he'll move on. But if he does, then Arsenal are going to have to go out and get a number two. But Aaron Ramsdale has been previously linked with Wolves for around about the £30 million fee. Now that Wolves are, fresh, they're getting a load of money in. They've sold a couple of big players, including now Neto, for £54 million. That £30 million that Arsenal are looking for Aaron Ramsdale will not be unassailable for them. And he could be a target for Wolves. So let's keep an eye on that one. Spoke about this one a couple of days ago. He's been heavily linked again today with a move to Arsenal. Kingsley Coman of Bayern Munich. Now 28 years of age. He's won 10 major titles in his career. Absolutely incredible career he's had. Very experienced player. Now, I spoke about it a couple of days ago and said how the journalist Florian Plettenberg, who's very close to Bayern Munich, said that this summer they will be willing to loan him out to another club in Europe. They prefer to get an obligation to buy, but he even said that even if they didn't have an obligation, they may be willing to loan him out this summer. He's on very, very high wages at Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich, of course, have invested heavily in signing Michael Olise from Crystal Palace this summer and want to get those high wages off the wage bill. Now, we know that Arsenal have been struggling to bring in, their target on that right-hand side, as a backup to Saka or someone who can really test Saka. And Nico Williams was the main guy they were looking for. It wasn't Neto. They haven't been looking at him all summer. And Nico Williams looks like he's definitely staying at Athletic Bilbao. So Arsenal apparently interested in Kingsley Coman, according to a lot of these rumours. They're also linking Barcelona, who've also missed out on Nico Williams, with a move for Kingsley Coman as well. Going to be interesting, this one, because if it was just a straight loan for the season, that could, solve a problem in the short term for Arsenal until they can go and get in the real target that they want, which again would probably be a Nico Williams. But let's see how that one develops out. Mikel Merino. It's been Mikel Merino daily now for about the past few weeks. Still nothing has seemed to happen, but there's big, strong reports coming out of Spain today that Mikel Merino will be joining Arsenal next week. Some of the reports are stating that a deal has been done with Real Sociedad for £17 million. Now, if it's £17 million, that is a great deal for Arsenal. It is a player that about a season ago, I think it was Manchester City were interested in him. They were being quoted 60 million. Of course, he's only got 1 year left on his deal now. And obviously the big worry always for Real Sociedad is he can just walk away for free. £17 million, though, would be a very, very low deal. There's other quotes saying it could be 25 million. But it's all been agreed. Players agreed personal terms weeks ago. He wants to come to Arsenal. And now it's said that Arsenal have reached an agreement over the fee with Real Sociedad. Now they're just discussing the payment structure, and this deal will be done. And Mikel Merino will become an Arsenal player in time for the brand new season. Obviously, he's had no pre-season. I can see Arsenal, by the way, playing a pre-season friendly behind closed doors next week. 100%. I can see that happening. I think they did it last year. I can see them doing that next week. But yeah, Merino has decided to join Arsenal. It looks like that's all going to come through for next week. So fingers crossed that all goes through smoothly. On the whole Neto thing, it might have a little domino effect on a few little transfers, right? But it's an interesting one. Osimhen, who there was a lot of talk that he could be heading to Chelsea. Lukaku's wanted by Napoli. We know that Napoli want to get rid of Victor Osimhen now, but it's that big fee that is really causing a blockage. Chelsea was said to be really, really interested in him. But now that they've put this big outlay out on Neto, and I know they've got money in from selling Conor Gallagher to Atletico Madrid, does that stunt their chances of getting Victor Osimhen and increase those for Arsenal? Could this is one to keep an eye on, could this be a late move in the transfer window for either Arsenal or maybe a Chelsea, that they tried to move and get in Victor Osimhen? Arsenal still need a striker, in my view. Osimhen's still out there as one of the obvious ones, him and Gyökeres, but I think these are going to be late moves. It's going to be interesting, this late, sort of last week of that transfer window, even last day, could be very, very interesting for Arsenal. And what about this one? Out of the blue. Now, I did see this link yesterday, and I was like, go away, get lost. I'm not even going to mention that. I just, no chance. But since the news emerged of Neto yesterday happening, maybe there is a bit of legs to this. I don't know. Mykhaylo Mudryk. Yes, him. Mykhaylo Mudryk, the guy who turned down Arsenal and went and joined Chelsea. And then since he's been at Chelsea, it's been an absolute disaster path. He's been linked with a move to Arsenal. Now, I think it was the journo Simon Phillips and another outlet that they reported this, saying that Arsenal are still interested in Mykhaylo Mudryk. Now that Neto's come in, what happens to Mudryk? Neto's a left winger as well. Does that mean that, Mudryk drops right down the pecking order? I mean, Neto, when you make that outlay and he's a top player, Mudryk's position is definitely under threat. Would Arsenal make a move to try and sign Mykhaylo Mudryk? £87 million is what Chelsea paid for him in 2023. He's valued now around £35 million according to Transfer Market. I don't know. Couldn't see this one. There's been talk that Chelsea may loan him out this season, but would they loan him to Arsenal and strengthen? Well, do you strengthen the way he was playing last year? I don't even know if he's strengthening Arsenal. He may be weakening Arsenal, but it's it's worth a mention, right? It's worth a mention because they bought in Neto now. That does do something to Mudryk's position. But let's wait and see. We got Trossard in instead of Mudryk. Trossard's been brilliant. I don't see a need now for a Mudryk. Or am I wrong? You guys out there, I want to hear from you because I do speak to a lot of Arsenal fans who say to me, if Mudryk had come to Arsenal and he'd been playing under Arteta, he'd be a totally different player, better player. Would you have Mykhaylo Mudryk, especially after he decided to go to Chelsea over Arsenal, would you have him at Arsenal? Would love to hear from you guys today. Thanks for watching the show. Don't forget my walk that I'm doing for Prostate Cancer UK, walking around all the Premier League grounds in London. In London, not all the Premier League. Some guy asked me the other day, he goes, that's going to be a long walk, Robbie, man. Newcastle, all the way down to Southampton. I said, no, London. But it's still tough enough, trust me, right? So please support me. The link is in the description. Get behind it right now. Looking forward to the walk. Well, or am I? Right. Starting for next week, Tuesday. We'll be doing content all along the route as well. So make sure you check that out. But thanks for watching the show today, and I'll see you tomorrow.